Dana White's Contender Series Season 9, Week 5 airs tomorrow night on September 9th, and I'm here to give you my preview, prediction, picks, and breakdown for the card. We are 15-5 on picks so far this season. Last week was a little bit, but we're looking to get back on the good side of the picks here. Looking for a clean sweep, got a couple underdogs. If you are here, like and subscribe, and I will hop right into it. We have our first matchup of the night. Chanel Dyer versus Carol Foro. This fight is actually pretty high level, honestly. Carol Foro is real good. Chanel Dyer is known for her. She has a brutal head kick knockout, and that's kind of what has brought a lot of hype to her name. Following that fight, though, she ended up going to a split decision with a 3-3 fighter in Valentina Scatizzi, I believe her name was. And that girl looked pretty good, honestly. She was doing decent with the boxing. She was very muscular, strong. She was plodding forward, throwing straights down the middle. And Chanel Dyer was open there, Going against a boxer is not necessarily her strong suit, I guess, in terms of like, what is Chanel Dyer looking to do? Maybe stay on the outside against a grappler, or same thing with a boxer, Chanel Dyer is going to look to pick and choose when to go in, when to not, fight at range, stay out of trouble, and then use her kicks. Her kicks are devastating. She throws solid kicks everywhere. She moves a little bit awkward. Her boxing isn't the best. Carol Foro, though, her boxing is pretty crisp, man. I got to say. She mixes in low kicks, high kicks. I'm very impressed with Foro. I came into this week. I spent more time watching tape on this fight than any other one, just because I came in looking like, okay, they want Dyer to get a showcase fight here. And then I start looking into Foro, and I'm like, hey, she's pretty good, man. As you can see, I have my notes on the screen, Dyer's kicks versus Foro's boxing. Foro's giving up a decent size advantage, but the power in the hand sits on her side. She will get inside of Dyer's kicking range and make this fight gritty. At least that's what I would do if I was her. She's very impressive, and she's outsized a little bit, but she's good, man. I wanted to pick Chanel Dyer here because I kind of want to go with, she's 24. She's going to be a little bit taller, a little bit longer, and she likes to fight at range. But at the same time, as you can see on the screen, if these are correct height stats, it's only a 2-inch disadvantage in height for Carol Foro. And I think her boxing is crispy, man. She mixes in the low kicks, mixes in the high kicks, but she closes that distance and she gets in and she has power, man. I wanted to take Dyer here, but I'm going to go with the Carol Foro, 28 years old. She's primed and ready to go, 8-1. I think this is a very difficult stylistic matchup for Dyer. And of course, Dyer could, like I said, keep her range, stay safe, land some devastating head kicks, or just point fight her way to a decision. But I think Carol Foro is going to get in there and her power is going to make a real difference here. Even if this fight ends up going to the scorecards, I think that power could be the difference maker here. This is a tough one to call, man. If I was going to pick anything for this fight, it would probably be the over. But I want to take a dog shot on Foro. I was completely ready to just pick Chanel Dyer. But after seeing Carol Foro, she's very impressive to me. So we'll go with the underdog here in Carol Foro for the first fight of the night. Second fight of the night, Chasen Blair and Samuel Sanchez. This fight is interesting. Samuel Sanchez, I have to look at my notes here. I don't have them on the screen anymore. But Samuel Sanchez, 5 of his last 7 opponents all had losing records. And that's very interesting to me. Chasen Blair is coming off a pretty solid win. He fought Cody Steele and got pieced up on the Ultimate Fighter, on the Contender Series last season. But one thing that he did display in that fight was he had some serious heart. He had serious heart, serious grit, and he was in that fight until he ultimately got finished with body shots, I believe it was. But Cody Steele's a pretty solid prospect. This guy, Samuel Sanchez, is not fighting high-level competition. Like I said, 5 out of 7 of his last opponents all had losing records. That alone makes me want to take Chasen Blair here as an underdog. You got me fucked up. Samuel Sanchez is a little bit bigger. I mean, they both are listed at 5'10", but if you look at the face-off, Sanchez looks a fair amount bigger. But I'm going to say that Chasen Blair here has the advantage in the wrestling and grappling department, and I could see him getting the fight to the floor, and that's where it's going to be his world. Chasen Blair should be able to withstand what Sanchez has for him. Of course, who knows? This is the fight game. Sanchez could go out there and light him up, one shot, knock him out. That's a fight game. But I'm going with what I see, and I see a guy in Chasen Blair who has a wrestling and grappling upside, has fought better competition, and is going to cash as an underdog. So with that, we will move to the next fight. Two straight dogs. Come on now. All right, this fight right here, ridiculous. Check this out. Felipe Franco and Freddie Vidal at light heavyweight. Between these two guys, they share 11 fights. One of these fights is against a winning record opponent. Felipe Franco fought a guy 3 fights ago, 19-18. Outside of that, there are no winning records on either of these guys' resumes. There's one guy on Felipe Franco's resume who is 2-2. This is an interesting fight. I've been at the beach, so I don't know exactly if this got put together last minute because they needed something. But this is a seriously crazy matchup here in terms of the strength of schedule. This is probably the weakest strength of schedule between two fighters on Dana White's Contender Series that I have personally seen since I've been covering it this closely at least. But god damn, one winning a record in 11 fights. So we're going to go with the guy who's 8-0. He's 8-0, all finishes. So at least he's finishing all these guys. Freddie Vidal has 2 finishes, 1 decision, but I'm not looking to see you take a guy with a losing record to a decision if you're coming on here to Dana White's Contender Series and fighting for a contract. So give me Felipe Franco based on that he has over 2 times as many fights, and he was the one guy who fought a guy with a winning record, and he has finished all of his opponents. This fight could be sloppy. I'm going to assume that it's going to be pretty violent. Somebody's probably getting finished early, or we're going to be watching a sloppy 3-round boring decision. I'm guessing it's the first one, though. Felipe Franco should get this one done, and I'm going to assume that he keeps his 100% finish rate intact as well. Next fight, we got old Cam Teague versus Liren Douglas. So Liren Douglas here actually is pretty good. I was like 12-5, huh? Not the prettiest record that you want to see on Dana White's Contender Series. And Cam Teague with the little shiny 9-1, only loss coming to Kevin Vallejos. Not a bad loss. He got fucked up. But if you look at him and the 2 fights that he's had after this, the opponents, not great, not high level. For my notes on this one, I wrote down 12-5 is not the prettiest record like we're used to seeing. Douglas is on a 4-fight win streak, and they're all against solid opponents with good records. Now, that's one thing that stands out because we got Cam Teague on a 2-fight win streak or a 1-fight win streak, I believe. Low-level opponent. This guy, Liren Douglas, is fighting solid dudes. 4 straight wins. Yeah, man. This guy, Liren Douglas, has big power. He's good anti-wrestling as well. If Cam T wants to try to wrestle, I doubt he's going to be able to get that off against Douglas. And then if Douglas wants, I think he also has his own offensive wrestling and grappling bag. But I think this fight is going to be an absolute showcase for Liren Douglas. I would probably say first round knockout, and I think it's going to be a highlight reel type of play as well. Liren Douglas to get this fight done inside the distance in the first round and by knockout. Cam Teague is tough, but similar to what Kevin Vallejos did, I think Douglas is going to go out there. And actually not similar to what Vallejos did. Vallejos lit his ass up with a barrage of strikes. I think Liren Douglas is going to put him down with one shot and follow up with some vicious ground and pound. This guy's actually pretty solid for 12-5. He has some losses, but it is what it is. That's the fight game. At the end of the day, anybody has a chance in a fist fight. Give me Liren Douglas, first round knockout. And then in our main fight, okay, so we got Steven Asplund and Anthony Garasio. Anthony Garasio here, 4-0. Steven Asplund, 5-1. Neither guy has that impressive of a resume. I know Garasio beat Schoenfelder, something like that, for the CFFC championship in his last fight. He got a first-round knockout. Steven Asplund, on the other hand, actually fought somebody I grew up with in his last fight. Steven Asplund fought Raiden Kovacs in his last fight. He was getting his ass whooped pretty bad. My boy ended up gassing, and he sold. He ended up getting TKO'd against the fence with an elbow and then followed up with ground and pound. But the last time I was breaking down fights, it was a PFL, I believe. It was recently, and I was doing my research. There was a guy who was an underdog who recently beat one of my friends, and I did not pick him. I was like, oh, man, he beat Spencer. I'm going to pick the other guy anyway. And the underdog who beat my friend in a fight ended up going out and cashing as an underdog. So off superstition alone, I go to check Steven Asplund's record, and his last fight is against a kid I grew up with and wrestled with in high school. I'm going with Steven Asplund here. I was originally leaning, if you can see it on the screen, I have my notes. Anthony Garasio looks a little bit cleaner, a little bit quicker, and he has some serious power, but Steven Asplund also has some dog in him. We've seen him in compromised positions multiple times. Raiden Kovacs was whooping his ass. And he was able to withstand that storm and get it done. it looks like there was only a 12-pound weigh-in difference here. What I saw previously is Asplund was weighing in around 263 and Gracio around 236. So who knows if these are accurate here? I probably should have paid more attention when I was watching the face-offs. But Steven Asplund has the ability to withstand some adversity, and I think in his own respect he has decent striking. I mean, he may be not as fast as Gracio and maybe doesn't have as much one-punch power, but he is going to be the larger guy. And I do think that he could be live here to find a knockout of his own. Gracio leaves himself open. He wings shots. He has a decent jab, and he has been improving. But 4-0, nobody impressive really on his record except his last time out. I'll give him that. Steven Asplund, not much more impressive of a record either, but he has fought all guys with winning opponents. Maybe one guy with a losing record. I'm rambling on this one, but straight off superstition, he beat one of the homies from the wrestling rooms in high school. And I'm going to go with him because of that. Also, he is a little bit bigger. He is a little bit longer. He can take a shot. I'm going to go with my third underdog of the night here. This could end up going bad for me. I picked 3 underdogs tonight. So we'll go through it one last time. Chanel Dyer, Carol Foro. This is a close fight. Probably the closest fight on the card. I think this one's, if I had to make an actual pick for the fight, I'm going to say over 2.5 rounds or fight goes the distance. The odds on that could be juiced. But Carol Foro could find a sneaky knockout or win on the scorecards based on the differential in strikes landed in terms of power and significance. Then we got Chasen Blair and Samuel Sanchez. Samuel Sanchez on fraud watch with that 5 out of the 7 last fights against losing opponents. Chasen Blair, wrestling and grappling upside. Give me the dog. Craziest fight on the card. Unbelievable strength of schedule between these two. Give me the guy with 2 times the amount of fights and 100% finish rate in Felipe Franco. Then we got Cam Teague and Leon Douglas. Leon Douglas, first round knockout. Add it to the highlight reel. And then I was ready to pick Anthony Gracio here, man. I really was, but something's telling me Steven Asplund is live here as a dog. I was 13-2 in picks before week 4, and I really wanted to preserve that. We went 2-3 last week, but at the same time, if I have a lean or I have a vibe pick, sometimes you got to go with your gut, man. And I'm going a little bit riskier this week. We are 15-5 on picks through 4 weeks. Week 5, make us or break us. We'll see what happens. But I got 3 dogs this week. This is going to be a very interesting fight card. We got some inexperienced fighters, some guys with some not so hot strength of schedules, but it should end up being a pretty solid night of Dana White's Contender Series. We have a couple good matchups, a couple stylistic clashes. I'm very excited for these, as I always am. And of course, I'll be dropping a couple lottos on Twitter as well. So we'll see how it goes. These are my picks. I'm excited for the fight card. I'm going a little bit ballsier this time around. We got 2-3 last time out. So I'm no longer too worried about keeping it with only 2 picks wrong. We're going to get picks wrong. This is the fight game. Anybody has a chance in a fist fight. But if you're here, let me know your favorite picks. Let me know your favorite underdog. And of course, like and subscribe if you like the content. We're always dropping stuff for Dana White's Contender Series, UFC, best bet videos, recaps, conversation pieces, and we also like to stream video games in the late night as well. I appreciate you all for watching. Thank you very much. We're going to be back next week. Let's get it.